Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to this Word of Gord Spirit Contact, the latest in a series. As some of you will know, have made a habit over the last few years of attempting to contact spirits of the recently departed and have them tell us their thoughts and experiences and communicate their post-mortem emotions. And this afternoon's attempt, and I call it an attempt because I never know if it's going to succeed, if the contact's going to be clear and useful. I'm given hints, given nudges by Spirit that I should proceed in that direction, and I go with those nudges. So in this ongoing effort of mine to normalize relations between the so-called spirit world and the so-called physical plane, I will attempt two fairly short, I think, contacts, brief conversations with two very recently departed souls who have come from very different segments of our North American society. Both are Americans by their past birth, although who knows what they were before that. But it strikes me as interesting to attempt to contact them both in the same session. Now, Roger Ebert, the much loved and respected film critic who passed just a few days ago after a number of years of a very brave battle with cancer, in my mind, and the latter part of which he lost his voice completely. And there are interviews on YouTube where you will see him sitting with his beloved wife and scribbling out quick answers to the interviewer's questions and showing them to his wife, and she speaks for him. Quite a touching bit of devotion there, I must say. Roger, other than his film criticism, of which I'm as familiar as most of you with, his TV show brought him lots of fame. And it's no secret that he was a lifelong lover of film, a devoted film buff of long standing, and I think would have continued film criticism even if he had not got the measure of fame that he did achieve in later life. Such was his love. It seemed to me he was more in love with being a film critic than being famous, which is, as you know, is not always the case in the entertainment arts. So Roger would like to say in opening how happy he is to have his vocal cords back, his ability to speak in a way that can be heard by those around him. It was something of a trial for me to live with that for the years that I had to live with it. Feeling as though God had taken away my greatest and most useful tool, but essentially I was a writer and I kept writing, as you all know. And I accepted that limitation on my creative abilities with the grace that comes with age, perhaps. And certainly those around me, including my much loved wife, who I continue to observe and participate in her life, whether she knows it or not. I think she does. Sorry, it's quite emotional for me still. I would like to communicate, but I feel, you know, the waves of emotion are still very strong. And the waves of emotion from you on earth are felt by me, and I am very, very humbled by your gifts of love to me, spoken and written and felt. I do feel them. Spirits do feel these things, I have been told. I certainly do myself. And for those of you who are wondering about my former partner in in crime, yes, we have met up and are reigniting our relationship in a most convivial manner. And yes, there are films in Spirit World. All the films that you would be familiar with from life, from Earth, and more. Films made by directors who have passed on and are keen to continue in their creative efforts. So all your dreams of what your favorite directors may be up to are, I can't say they're all true, but some of them definitely are. Not everyone who was involved in the film industry continues on here. And of course, I am very definitely a newbie and don't have access to all the information available, but some most definitely are. And I'm being told that this channel here has allowed Dennis Hopper to speak through him, so perhaps some of you have heard some of this type of message before. I am settling down in this new world in the most grateful of fashions. I always suspected that there would be another world, and here it is, and here I am in it. So I ask you all not to worry for the state of my soul or the condition of my being. I am still in transition, but I am well, and I am recovering, and I have recovered. It is a wonderful, magical place, this world of spirit, and I really look forward to finding out more about it as these seeming days, although I'm told we do not have days, unroll in front of me. And I wish you all, in this brief message, great love and much gratefulness for your kindnesses towards me during my illness and after my passing. And goodbye for now. Well, Roger Ebert, or a spirit doing a very good impersonation. As I've said before, there is no ultimate guarantee that the spirit I feel I am channeling is in fact that person. I know other mediums devise tests and clever cross-examinations, but that is not my particular method, my MO. Let others do that, I say. My ambition, my great love in mediumship is to represent in a small way the vast potential for future communications, the great liberation to be felt and experienced as the worlds of the physical plane and the astral plane, or the heaven worlds, if you like, come together as they are coming together. And I believe that you understand the sincerity and guilelessness of my approach, and it shall continue. Many people pass, many souls pass every day of the year, every hour of the day. Many hundreds, many thousands pass. And it is useful to remember this when we talk or feel the love and vibrations of a specific person. They are only one of many. Many, 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 many. It's rather like walking through a large urban train station at rush hour. When you consider the number of souls that are passing every day, not to mention the ones that are coming in and being born. That's another wave. We are surrounded by waves of incarnation. We are constantly surrounded, but we all have to live our lives in a fairly focused and rational fashion, so myself included, we can't be thinking about such things all the time. But I would suggest to you it's a timely reminder once in a while to just think on that, ponder on that. Matthew Warren, the son of the evangelical pastor and writer Rick Warren, whose purpose-driven life was something of a bestseller, not only in that community of evangelical Christians, but across the board. I do have a copy myself. And although I don't share the worldview of evangelical Christians, I am much more of a syncretist. I include all sorts of notions that would be heretical to them in my somewhat maverick spirituality. So if you've tuned into this because you've seen the name Matthew and are wondering, then be forewarned. I will attempt to communicate as accurately as possible, but you may feel that I am imposing some of my esoteric, heretical Eastern notions on his fate. I'm certainly not aiming to do that. And I should point out that I have worked in spirit as a communicating psychic and OBE retriever with many young people who have committed suicide. This is nothing new to me. Perhaps not any that are famous. Although now that I think about it, yes, if you go back in my Word of Gord, you will find a couple, but there were people who committed crimes and then committed suicide. So I'm sure you don't wish to include Matthew with that group, but just a little bit of background there. I feel so many emotions as I come to speak through this person today. It is hard for me to focus on one. I certainly feel remorse for my actions, although I ask you to understand the torments that I went through for many years. And perhaps if you went through those, you might do the same. Depression and its depression and all the nastiness that comes along with it is more than many can take and more than I could take. And now I look at my faith and I see that I used it to justify what I wanted to do for many years before I actually did it. And yet here I am in a world of loving souls who are embracing me with, well, actually very much the kind of love that I feel from many of you coming from earth. It is somewhat overwhelming. It is too much. I am bathed in love. I cannot emphasize this enough. And I ask you to understand that I am immensely grateful for this from both sides. I cannot actually fully understand why I, despite being the son of a very famous pastor, am receiving this much love. I do not feel that I deserve it, but I am told that I do, and I am given it by the people who I now live with here in this heaven that I find myself in, this wonderful paradise. And yes, it's almost it's too much. Although I felt my faith would take me to heaven, part of me thought that I was not worthy and would actually not arrive here, but I have. And even in my remorse for my actions, my violent actions, and understanding, or at least I understand why others might choose to do the same, I urge others who might be listening to this to not do the same. Hypocritical and two-faced as that may sound, I urge you not to do this. And I apologize for this seeming hypocrisy, that it is, I do not, advise you to do what I did and take this seemingly easy exit. Understand that a loving community awaits you all when you arrive here, and there is no need to hurry here. You can take your time and try to cope with your problems, as I tried but failed to do. And enough of the lectures. I will not go on anymore. But I urge you to feel the love of your family and fellow man and Christian communities around you, and do not reject it in your lack of self-esteem and lack of self-love. Christ loves you unconditionally, as he loved me, and I will always be grateful for that. How could I not be? And finally, perhaps I would apologize to those of you who feel let down by my actions. Family, friends, community. I am most sorry if you feel that I have let the site down. I did what I did, and I am now living with the consequences, as we all do with our actions. But again, I would say to you, I am living in a loving community, and I feel the love and prayers coming from the world, the earth. And I thank you for that. And I take my leave of you in love. Well, so with those brief messages from the heaven worlds, and as little prejudice and preconception on my part as I could manage, as many of you Word of God listeners know, I am a believer in many lives on this planet, and we come back, and I realize that many of you do not believe in that. So I did not try to enforce that belief system on the communicators, and I do not attempt to force it upon you. I merely ask you to understand that spirits are with us. They may look like they're gone, but they've really only stepped into the next room. The next room in which, through a phone that is more like telepathy than a telephone or an iPhone, can be used to communicate. They are here as we are here, and we are here together. God bless you all, whatever faith you have and wish to share.